Hello, everyone. My name is Darla Saunders, and on behalf of the Atlantic Salmon Conservation Foundation, I would like to welcome you to today's webinar. This series is made possible in part thanks to the contributions of the Government of Canada. We're delighted today to be welcoming Valérie Delisle-Gagnon and Renaud Beaucher-Perras of the Matapédia-Restigouche Watershed Organization. Valérie has been project manager and biologist at the Matapédia-Restigouche Watershed Organization since 2014. She received her technician training at the Sainte Foy Cégep, has a BSc in biology and a master's degree in wildlife and habitat management from the University of Quebec at Rimouski. She has worked in various fields such as forest entomology, botanical inventories, and river zooplankton research. Renaud Beaucher-Perras has been part of the Matapédia-Restigouche Watershed Organization since 2017. He has studied communications, marketing, and multimedia, and received his master's degree in environmental management from the University of Sherbrooke. He has worked in different fields, including digital communications, international logistics, and water management. After the presentation, we'll be opening the floor for a question-answer session. You'll have the option of asking your questions directly using your microphone, or you can type them in and we'll read them aloud. And I should also mention the question and answer session will be bilingual. I will now turn the webinar over to Valérie and Renaud.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
First of all, thanks to you all to be there today to listen about our project. As you can hear, English is not my first language, and I will try to be as fluent or clear as possible, but sorry if I don't use the good choice of words to say what I want to say, and don't be shy to ask questions if something is not clear and you think it's because I just didn't find the good words to say it. You want to say something? No, you're good. Okay, so I'm gonna do the first part of the presentation, so talking a bit about our organism and how this project came to us, how we thought about this project, and then Renaud will talk about more really the communication plan that we thought would be interesting for this kind of project. So here you can see it's a picture we took this summer of everybody who were working with us at this time. We have many expertise, a lot of people. We have also some temporary employees, interns who come to help us sometimes. And that's it. So here we go. We have with the Foundation, Atlantic Salmon Foundation, a project called Awareness Campaign to get people to understand more and see what's the problem with the runoff, urban runoff, because we saw that here in our watershed it's a big problematic. And it's really not easy to understand why it's a problem, and it's not easy for a citizen to get why rain water would be a problem. And so we thought about this project to get a way to get this information to people, and so they don't think that we are seeing problems where there is not. So they can see that rainwater and urban runoff can really be a problematic for Atlantic salmon in our rivers. So for those who don't know, we'll talk about it really briefly. If you have more questions, just don't be shy to ask about it. But urban runoff is when the water, the rainwater falls on any impervious surfaces, roof, roads, and street. And that this water is not absorbed by the ground because the surfaces are impervious, and it gains speed and it can cause a lot of issues like erosion and transport of sediments, pollutants, and that goes all at the end in the river, and it impacts the water quality and the habitat of the Atlantic salmon. Here we have some pictures of the Matapédia River down and after a rain, you can see that there's a lot of sediment in the water. I like this graph because it helps understand a lot of people what is happening when the surface are impervious, when there's a lot of roof and parking lot and streets. What you have in blue is before urban development, and in red it's after. It's a graph coming from the Maryland Department of the Environment, and we see that the flow of the river after a rain will go slightly up before urban development, and will then decrease gradually after the rain. And when there is urban development, the flow of the river will go up really fast because all the water is sent to the river really fast and it's not going through the ground. And you can also see that the flow of the river will decrease more, will go down more than it was before, and that is because the ground is not, there's no water in the ground to be released slowly to the river. Here in the Matapedia watershed, we are really lucky to have the salmon, Atlantic salmon, going through our rivers. And what you can see on this map is that the adult salmon are going upstream, to really at the upstream of the system. And we saw, we even saw that they can spawn really in the little rivers, totally at the upstream of the watershed. So we are lucky to have this beautiful fish, but it also comes with a responsibility. You can see on the map at the left of the screen that the biggest town here at the upstream is Amqui, and the river really goes through the town. So we often see people fishing in the town. We can swim there. The river quality is really good, but we have to take care of this. Here are some pictures after rains. You can see all this sediment going in the water. The picture at the bottom, I like it a lot because at the left you see it's the same, it's just one picture, a panoramic picture. You see at the left that the water is, at the right, sorry, that the water is kind of clear, and at the left you can see all the sediment coming out from the rain drains. Here, sorry, it's not all in English, it's in French also, but it's a part of our action plan that we have at the watershed organization. It's just to show you that the issue of urban runoff touches all those action that are in red, and so it touches a lot of our action plan, and that action plan is made working with everybody from the watershed. So we are working with the citizens, we are working with the industries, with forestry, with fishermen, farmers. So everybody came together. We had a lot of meetings, and we continue to have meetings to be sure that everything is up to date. And after those meetings, we came up with that action plan. And so the issue of urban runoff is everywhere. We have a philosophy here at the Watershed Organization we're really trying hard to we don't want to be the specialists who choose what's in the program and that the participants adapt to that program. We are working so the participants are involved all through the process, and that so that they feel that the action plan is also theirs, because they came up with it and they worked on that action plan. I won't go through the details of all those projects, but that timeline is also to explain that since 2005, we worked on the problematic of sediments in the river, nutrients, and phosphorus and all. We worked with farmers, and we worked with citizens, with towns. And in 2008, we made a study for the Lake Matapedia Lake, and we learned that the capacity of the lake to I'll try to absorb, to get, to I'm looking for the good words.
Retain?
No, la capacité the capacity of the lake to get some phosphorus and not be impacted by it, I'll say it that way, is attained at 93% already in 2008. So that was a big problem. Then we worked with farmers, we worked with towns, and we also saw that 5 hectares of farmlands has the same impact when we are talking about phosphorus than 1 urban hectare around the Lake Matapedia. So for the same surface, you have more impact with urban surfaces than farmlands. So then in 2016, 2014, we really decided to work more with citizens. And we also found that in the cities, the people who are working in the cities, the mayor, all the employees, they have to work with environment, so they kind of learn doing their work, what are the problematics. And the farmers, they are always outside, they see what's happening, so they also have understanding of what are the environment problematics. But the citizens are often the artists to get to understand what is happening. They don't really work with environment. They didn't really learn that at school, and we have to start really, really far with them often. So that's why we came up with the project of awareness campaign for citizens. We worked with township. We gave them this booklet so each township down the river, Matapedia River, has their own booklet. And in this booklet, there's a lot of precise and up-to-date information about their municipality, about the biodiversity, the water usage, the urban development, climate change, all of the action that we have in the action plan that touches them. And with that booklet, a lot of people who are working in the township asked us, okay, now that you made us understand that urban runoff is a problematic, what can we do? So we made a project that is still going on, and we have a lot of things of this, a lot of things that we learned in that project, but it should be another webinar because there's so much to say. But to be short, I wanted to show you that graph because I think it talks a lot. What you have here is for the Causapscal municipality, you have what happens during a rain. In red, it's what is happening now, actually. The line in yellow is if every roof are deconnected, because often the roofs are connected directly to the rain drains. So if the roofs and if the parking lot are not connected to rain drains, or that the water going down on the roof is managed, yeah, that is in green. And then in blue, you have if the roofs, the parking lot and the street. So if the water, the rain water going down the roofs, the parking lots and the streets are managed, you can see that the flow is really down. So here in Causapscal, that graph tells us that we have to work with the streets and the roads. You have to know that in Causapscal there's a big road, the 132, and there's a lot of traffic on that road. And there's also two roads that are coming down from the mountains, and they are forestry roads. So they bring a lot of sediment to the river. Here's some projects we have with citizens. They are working to manage the water coming down the roof and the parking lots. And here is another project we have. We are working with 7 municipalities and a lot of municipalities in the province of Quebec. And the idea is to think about how can we be more resilient with the climate change that are coming up, because we know that climate change will have an impact on urban runoff. They will probably worsen them. Yeah. So how can we be strategic, and how can we be more resilient with climate change? So now our project of awareness campaign, we want to repair the connection between the river and the citizens. Why do we say that? Is because in the first project, I was going doors to doors in Amqui to talk about the project and the problematic of urban runoff. And something really shocked me. I was talking with somebody, we were outside his house, and I could see the river just down the street. And he told me, oh, I saw the project, but I didn't thought that it was for me, because I'm not living near the water. I'm not living near the river. So I was really shocked, because I just understood at this moment that people, they see the river every day. They go, they cross it. They may go swim or they may go fish, but not in Amqui. But they forget that they are living just beside the river, and that they have an impact on it. So that's why we planned this project. As I said, the objective is really to go touch the general public, and to start a reflection for them that maybe could lead to a change in their behavior. So they understand that it happens all around, that the urban runoff is a problematic, and when you begin to see it, you just see it every day. Each time it rains, you're like, oh my God, all this dirty water is going down to the river. You cannot stop seeing it. You probably already know it, but we wanted to talk about it anyway, because it's something that we are explaining to the citizens we are meeting. The concept of watershed is not always easy to understand for somebody, and we also found that people who are not used to work with maps just have really it's difficult for them to understand a map. It can be really difficult. So the watershed concept has to be explained. And we also explain that their house, their parking lot is little drainage area. They are a small watershed, and all the water that goes down their roof and down their parking lot is going to the street and go out and go down to the river. We also use the economic side. When we can use it, we do, because people are always shocked to see how much money the salmon is bringing to the region. Here you can see that the lake trout has a direct and indirect impact of $2 million, and that Atlantic salmon has $10 million of direct impact, and a lot of jobs created too. We also talked to them about how much the natural environment around us is giving us. So the natural filtration of all the environment around Amqui is worth a lot. And if we don't take care of this natural environment, it will cost us really a lot of money to get clean water. So we really have to be careful. So we use every argument we can. So we use the economic one, job, quality, water quality, and salmon also, to get people to understand that they have to take care of the river.
So
here you go.
That's why we built a communication plan, because we had a lot to say and a lot of people to say it too. So this is something we need to plan. We can't just wing it. So I'll start with a communication plan, and the objective of it is to really focus on what we want to say to people. So it all goes down to a single message that is always used in all our communications, and a few precise objectives. So here are messages that water runoff management has an impact on the aquatic ecosystem. So all we say, all we ever talk or write to people needs to get this message through. That's what we want people to remember. And our objective is, what does this message brings to people? So raising awareness in citizens, changing behavior, or transferring tools to other organizations like right now. So this is an example of our communication plan. You can see that the objectives are marked on the left, and we have a lot of different methods to reach people, and all to the right are all the actions that are based on these methods. So what's really important to do is to link all your actions to an objective, because otherwise you'll just have a cool action, but it won't be, if it's not linked to an objective, it won't be useful. It simply will be an action that you do, but doesn't have really an impact. And you can see the right square, the red right square, that you really need to think about costs also. So we had something here, and visits, yeah, but we didn't plan the cost of it. So that was an error, and you really need to think about it beforehand. All the actions need to be linked, well, as I said, to an objective, but you always have to ask the 5 W's. So who, what, when, why, and where. It's the basic to really anchor your action to reality, and what you'll do and why you're doing it. So for a radio spot, for example, who will benefit from it? It's the citizens who are not usually touched by our messages. What? Well, it's a radio spot giving you a few info. It doesn't have to be more complex than that, answering those questions. When? Well, you have a lot of possibilities, but for us it was morning and evening, during the commute to work, when people are stuck into their car and they don't have any choice but to listen to us. Why? Well, it's a short spot, so it was only to foster curiosity and bring them to go on our website. And where? It's on the radio, in that case, Rouge FM. And all these questions will help you find to which objective the action is linked. It can be linked to more than one action, actually, but it needs to be at least one. So as we had a lot of people to talk to, a lot of different groups, age, different actors with different backgrounds, we needed to cover a really large means of communication. So that's why we used radio, TV, social media, events, billboards, and much more. So that's what we'll be talking to you about. So we'll pass all the action, all the means with advantages, disadvantages, hints, and things to really to don't do, so traps, so that you don't fall into. We fell into a few traps, and we don't want you to do the same. So the radio, what's great is that if you choose your timing well, you can have a captive audience, like I said, when they're in their car and they don't have anything to do else than listening to you and driving, of course. It's useful to just to bring a tiny hint of curiosity. You don't, on the radio, you don't give all the information and hope that people will get it right the first time. You just, you just say the message again and again, the small message. However, it can be relatively costly. So for about 30 seconds, it can be about $20. So you really need to plan and to summarize well. So what we did that was really useful is prepare a document for the person who prepares the spot, because usually it's the people on the radio that prepare what will be said. So as we prepare a document for them, it makes it easier for them to give the right info. And another hint that can be used with almost all other actions is to include people. Say we are watershed. It's not their watershed, it's all our watershed. We all are in it. They will be more, they'll feel included. However, you don't be a seller. So if your spot will pass between two ads, car ads or shops or anything. So if you have the same tone as them, people will just zone out and won't remember anything you said. On the television, it's almost the same. However, it's possible to touch people that are really visual, which is a good portion of people. However, it's a lot costlier also, and you need to be quite original for people to remember you, because well, at least in our watershed, people consume a lot of TV. So for them to remember your small spot, it needs to be very original. However, your spot can be reused in other media, so social media, on your website. So all you do can be reused. It's quite good to do so. If you have in your area a community TV, I suggest you talk to them, because they always are looking for some info, some things to say, and they'll be really happy to help you. And of course, the cost of community TV is really lower or even free. And to the contrary, if you work with a big communication company, as we tried, you can see it will be very costly. So we have an example here of the community TV. We had an event on our lakes, and they went and made a few interviews, and they showed us twice, I think, at the end of the year review and just after the event. So it had been great publicity for a really low cost. And as I was talking about big communication companies, this is an example. We asked them to produce a TV spot and a radio spot, and that was about it. And they told us, yeah, no problem. It'll be about $25,000, excluding the production, which can be $25,000 to $150,000 more. So this was quite a lot of difference if we compare to community TV or other smaller channels. Social media is a no-brainer. Everybody needs to be on social media these days. They are really easy to set up. They are cheap. Some are free, but your time counts. So it's not purely free, but it's not really costly, and can have multiple uses. So you can reach people for, let's say, an awareness campaign like we did, but you can also reach them for other things, for events you are planning on your organization or whatever you feel like. However, it's really easy to put a lot of time into social media. You could work 40 hours a week only on it, and you'll still have things to say, stuff to show people. So you really need to think about what you'll put on there. And the impact that social media has is really long-term. You can't just create a Facebook page, post a few things, and hope that in a week or two you'll have thousands of subscribers who will remember what you said. A few hints would be to target your audience. So if you have younger people, try another social media. Let's say Instagram is really up and coming. But if you have older people, Facebook might be more worth it, or YouTube also. And try to follow up on posts. So you'll see next, I'll talk about it later. And don't spam. If you say post 4 or 5 things a day, people first will not see all of them, and they'll get bored with all the things you say, so they will zone out or simply unfollow you, and you'll have lost them. And the type of social media you use needs to be tailored with your needs. So let's say we had an awareness campaign, Pinterest, which has lots of decoration things, do it yourself, has no use or had no use to us for this project, but for another project, maybe that's the one we'd use. I was talking about follow-up, and that's an example of Facebook. It's really useful to track your data to adapt. So we can see here that 2 of our posts really had a great reach compared to others. So afterwards we can go and see, okay, this one, what did we do different, and what worked, what didn't work. So we can see here posts that had a real small reach. We can see what we did wrong and adapt and try to work things out this way. It's really at least for the social media, it's going really fast, so you need to adapt quickly to what you're doing. Another thing we did is to take part in events or simply have stands in them. So the advantage is that it can attract a lot of people, depending on the event, of course, and it has a durable impact because you talk to people directly, and this works quite well to stay in their memory. However, it can be quite long to organize and can be costly, really depending on the event. And you are competing against other festivals and events if you're organizing yourself. So if you plan an event and on the same day there is a bigger event in another town nearby, you may lose a lot of people simply for a timing problem. However, for these also, you can be original and use semi-related events. So we took part in a festival, a guitar festival in a nearby town. It wasn't related to urban runoff at all, but they had a small space for us set up, and we were able to talk to people there about the issue, and it worked quite well. And you can, and I think you should use documentation also. So it's great to talk to people and make contact, but if you can give them paper, something physical to use also, it will help them remember when they get home after a big day of going to a festival and seeing lots of things. They'll still have your paper to remember, oh yeah, that's the guy I talked about the runoff. That's what he was talking to me. However, in those kind of events, there's a lot of people going by, and not all will stop to your stand, and that's normal. So don't set too high goals, because the more people there's in an event, the less people you'll touch in proportion. So if there's an event with, let's say, 30 people, a party, you can touch everyone without problem. But if it's a big event with hundreds of thousands of people, you won't touch everyone. That's normal. So don't be discouraged by people passing by and not stopping. There will be people stopping, and the ones you talk to, you'll have a real impact. So these are 2 examples. On the right, you see the guitar festival we did, and we went to a public market also to talk about a few issues. And you can see we used yellow flashing t-shirts. That was a strategy to really stand out, and it worked quite well. People saw us across the parking lot and came to see us. We also used edutainment, so education and entertainment together. If you can bring people to play, to get into action, this is what makes people remember the most, because they put their hands in it, their thoughts in it, their entire body will go in it. So we made something for Causapscal, which is an event here once a year, and we made something competitive and playful during the event to raise the awareness. And people, when they were doing it, they don't really think about it, but after it's over, they come and see us. Yeah, once I've done it, I understand what was the problem and what's the issue with runoff. So learning by playing is not just for kids, it's for anyone. And if you can incorporate that, it works really, really well. Of course, we also do meetings in which you can have a very targeted message. So as you can choose who goes to the meetings, or who you invite at least, you can bring people who are very targeted and make them go further into action. So municipalities can go into meeting and they have real power to do things. However, it is quite time consuming to prepare everything. And sometimes when you are invited to a meeting, it's a really tight schedule. So we had a few town city meetings where we had 15 minutes to present the whole awareness campaign. So you really need to be aware that time is always an issue in these things. However, you can use other actions or other means to prepare these. So social media, newsletters, YouTube. You can make combos of a lot of actions to prepare them. And you need to confirm again and again. Even if people tell you, yeah, it's a good idea, I'll be there, you need to confirm again and again. That's what we've learned to do in meetings, to be really sure that people show up. And something really important to avoid is to make unidirectional meetings. So people sitting there giving info and that's it, have a good day. You need to involve people, make them talk, make them act. That's how people get involved and really understand that they're not passive. Newspapers are a great way to touch people that, at least for us, we couldn't touch naturally. It can be quite cheap. Essentially, if you use municipal newspapers, they are also quite eager to get material also. So we can work with them to publish a few things. And it touches people that we don't normally touch. However, it's really temporary. People read the newspapers, throw them out, and that's it. That's over. So you really need to make use of what we have. And let's say what we did is a few stints here that just gave a small spot of information and then brought people to our website, which we'll talk about later. And all these articles can be reused also on other platforms, on social media, on your website, and you can print them out and hand them over during events, etc. Documentation, all papers, flyers, is really adaptable, and that's their greatest point. And it helps to focus the memory after an event. So after you've talked to people, they remember with the paper. So alone, it doesn't have quite an impact, but used in combination with others, it's great. It can be costly, however, depending on how many you need to print, and it brings a lot of waste because unfortunately it's often thrown out immediately, even before being read. So considering this, you don't need an exceptional quality. You can just print it on normal paper, no need for something glossy, heavy duty or anything, if it'll be thrown out immediately. And as you have a lot of adaptability in how much text you have and you use, but it's great to just have a lot of pictures and a few text and just send to your website, which is where you'll have all the concrete information, the complete information. So a website is really the place, the hub, where you gather all the information because you have complete control on your website. So you choose what is shown, how it's shown. So it's a great place to put all that you want there and to to invite people to go and check it out with all the other ways. And even it stays after the project ends, which is quite good. In, let's say, 5 years, the awareness campaign will be over, but the website will still be there, telling people what's the issue, what they can do about it. However, it's quite long to set up, particularly if you have a lot of info to put it, and it must be updated. You can't just set up a website and forget about it. You need to, if there's new info, you need to put it there. You can do blog posts or the like. And some hints, you can link this to your website. However, not putting everything on your website is the solution we went with, because this website was really for a single precise issue. However, our website covers lots of things, our actions, so we didn't want people to go on our website and not find what they were looking for. We sent them to this website to have info on urban runoff, so we needed a website only for urban runoff. And what we tried, and we probably won't do again, is to pay for ad placement. So to pay for other websites around to put little ads up, so that people who click on it go on your website. To give you an idea, we had about 30,000 impressions. So people saw our ads 30,000 times, and only 2 clicked on the link to go on our website. So it's not really cost effective and not working well. The hydrological summaries are a type of documentation that we talked about earlier, but this one is a lot more complex. It's a sub-project that all citizens in urban areas will receive a personal document like this of their property, really pinpointed, and it will show what is impervious, what is how much runoff they produce in their homes. And it will be sent by the municipalities themselves, so we can surf on their credibility that way, and people receive a letter from their city and they'll go, oh, okay, what's the problem? And then they'll have the good info for them specifically. Also, there's a lot of material out there on the internet, other guides. Use that. Don't be afraid to use and to share articles. Even if you don't create the material, it's worth a lot to use what's already there. So a few general hints and traps to try to follow and not fall into. First, be original. People are assaulted with information at all hours of day and night, and they need to remember yours. So you need to be original and with strong imagery or surprises. This is what will stay with them. You have allies, contacts, use them. They'll often be happy to share what you did or to help you work it out. So like I said, a letter from the municipality is really credible. And for everything that is that you use in contracts, ask for a copy. So if you publish in newspapers and radio, ask for a copy of this. It will help you, well, for your internal files, of course, but also for grant reports afterwards. When people ask you what you did with their money, that's really good to have examples and tangible proof. Humor is great, but it's hard to use. So you really need to know your audience for this. But if you work it well, it could really help you. And use your contacts as test subjects. If you're not sure if something is clear, if something works well, if your joke is understandable, just show it to someone you know and you'll have a great idea if it works. Don't give any context. So for example, we made an event on our lakes, and we made a few posts like these over-the-top posts, like we found a a shark in Lac au Saumon, which is a lake here in the watershed, it's obviously not possible for us, or erosion with the Grand Canyon on the right. But people saw that and they were, oh, there's a shark. And then they stop for a moment and they realize it's a joke. And just the fact that they paused for a second to think about it, that's where you get them. Like I said, seek help if you need help or if you know people around. Green Community Canada, the Okanagan Basin Water Board, and University of Nebraska-Lincoln, they all had projects and guides on rainwater, urban runoff, or on public awareness campaigns. They already did things that we can use, so don't be afraid and use your collaborators.
And I would just add, don't be afraid to ask. We saw that rain garden design document that University of Nebraska made, and we never talked to them, we didn't know them, but we just took the phone and called and say, well, we are a watershed organization here, and we're working on a project to do a document like yours. Can we use your document and just translate it? And they were happy with that. Mm-hmm. We made a contract, something written, just not by phone, something written that everybody agreed. And now we are nearly finished with that, but we have a document translated, and it takes us a lot less time than it would have taken us if we would do just from scratch.
Another thing you need to know is that people understand things differently. So there's a lot of people who will work well with a block of text. Other people need tables or images or video or audio. So you need to combine all these ways of passing your message so you get everyone. And like I said, field test these to people you know, so you have a great idea. What we usually do is we let's say we have a new document we want to print out. I'll send it to my stepbrother who sells insurance for a living. I don't give any context. I just say, hey, just got this in the mail. What do you think about it? Or show it to your neighbors, to your friends, people without any context. They'll give you the right info. We'll do a little example here.
We like to do the test with the people we present this presentation, but today we'll just say the result we have normally. Here you have text in a table, and you have the same text, but it's a block of text. And normally we ask people, we give them like 5 seconds to look at each of those slides, and we ask them which of them did you like the most, and in which of them did you get the information that you wanted. And it's always surprising to see how different it is from one people to another, and it's normally 50-50. So we have the half of the people who say, oh, I really like tables more, and the other half who say, I really like text more. And what is counterintuitive is that for me, for example, I will read the text before the table, and I cannot understand that people would feel the other way.
Yeah, and I feel the other way. I prefer tables over text anytime.
And it's how my brain works. But if I work on a document, I will put more text than tables, but it won't necessarily be okay for everybody. So we have to be aware of that.
Yeah, and team working is great for this also. Even if you field test with people you know, the people you work with, they don't understand, like us, we don't understand the same thing the best. So if we work together, we'll have something in between those two things, and it'll work better to get more people. Another thing to do is to create an image bank with pictures of your region, your rivers, your cities, your lake. this involves people quite a lot. So if you show them a picture of a random river, they'll just be, okay, that's a river. But if you show them the river near where they grew up, they swam in it when they were kids, there you get them, and they will, of course, read what's under it. And to do this, you have to get out. You don't have any other way. If you or partners or employees, when it rains, well, in our case, we needed images after rain, so it rained outside, and we go out and take pictures because we use them later. And all of those pictures we used because they are so diverse. Take pictures of the people working also because it involves people also, but they are great ambassadors. So the man on the right here, maybe he doesn't really understand urban runoff, or he doesn't care, but if his brother or his sister sees it and, hey, you were in that, you were doing this project there, what did you do? And they'll be forced to talk about it, and they oftentimes they're proud of what they do. So use those people and, well, ask their permission, of course, but people normally like that they are put in front and put forward, and, hey, this man does a great job, look at what he did. So these are a few examples of the rain gardens we did for a few projects in our watershed. And these are pictures that we use in our documentations, on our website, everywhere. Again, these are the people where we built with them the rain gardens. So it involves the community when you say that, when you know that your neighbor did a rain garden and it worked quite well. So now they want to do one too. And after a while, everyone wants to do it. We also did a toolbox. I believe the presentation is recorded, so you'll have access to this Google Drive link, in which there are stencil ideas, an example of the summary I was talking about earlier, our communications plan, a few links, related images, examples. So really, we put a lot of things we did into this toolbox. So feel free to use it. That's what was one of our objectives in the communication plan, as I've shown you. So it's really there to be used. So
don't be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy. And the final tip is the most important: listen to the community and adapt. When you do something, after open your ears, people will talk about it, or if they don't talk about it, ask questions. What didn't work, what worked, and really work with people to get your message better out. So that's it, actually. It's the final tip.
So thanks to all our partners, the Atlantic Salmon Conservation Foundation, the Fondation de la Faune du Québec, and MRC de la Matapédia et MRC Avignon. Maybe there is people that listen to us today that did some kind of work or communication plans like ours. We are curious to see what you have to say about it, and if you have any hints also that you have to say.
Hints, questions.
Yeah, we are totally opened.
Thank you both so much. That was an excellent presentation with a lot of really great information. We will open the question and answer session now. So folks have a couple of different options for asking questions. So using the webinar control panel, which is the little gray box you should be seeing in your upper right-hand corner of your screen, you can ask questions directly using your audio. So all you need to do is figuratively raise your hand, which is the little hand icon, and I can unmute you. Or you can type in your question and we will ask it aloud. Et je devrais dire aussi que vous pouvez poser vos questions en français ou en anglais. So we'll give folks a few minutes to put in their questions. While we're waiting, maybe you'd like to chat a little bit about some of the workshops that you had with your residential partners, so the folks who actually came to learn about how to build rain gardens and then help to install them on their properties. How did you find that experience?
It was really, really fun. People had great ideas. We worked with them. The hard part was that we wanted them to build their own rain gardens, but a lot of time they saw us as the expert and they didn't want to think about it themselves. They liked it more when we suggested things. So we finally, for a lot of them, suggested them something to do, and then they just accepted it. But still, we had great meetings with citizens, and those people are real ambassadors. They are so proud of what they did, and they are talking about it to everybody. So that is, I think it was really time consuming to work with all those people and to put those management in place, but I really think it's worth it.
Great, thank you. So we have our first question here from Marika Chaplin. Marika, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you for the presentation. It's very informative. And I work for a watershed organization here in New Brunswick, and we are planning a rain garden project in partnership with the community center in an urban section of our watershed. So that's pretty well sorted out, but we would like to expand in future years with our municipality. And we have worked with them for quite a number of years, but we do find them a bit slow to move on things, but we see them as a very logical and suitable partner. So wondered if you had any tips for getting a little bit more buy-in and collaboration, I guess, with municipal partners.
That's not always easy. We found here that sometimes you know that people in municipalities are changing a lot, and sometimes for some municipalities we wait because we think the timing is not good. Like, and we prefer to put our energy on a municipality who is already ready to go further. So we put our energy there, and we know that the time we put on this municipality is worth it, and they are happy to have us there. Then put energy in a municipality where they really don't want us there because it happens sometimes. We are lucky right now because everybody is working really well with us, so it go fast, but yeah.
Yeah, and also if you need to convince municipalities of why it's a good project, the economic argument is oftentimes the most efficient one. So if they see that there's a money sign that they're saving after the project, let's say in road management or these kind of things, they'll be more than happy to help because at the end they're winners too. And another thing that works well is to make them understand that it'll make them stand out from other municipalities, and citizens are always happy when they see that the municipality is tackling issues and working for them. So this is a good example that they can show to citizens, look, we did this, it works well, so we're working for you. And this is something that they like quite a lot.
And also, what we did with municipality is that when we did our booklet, municipality booklet, where we point out some issues in their municipality. We really insist with them, and it was not easy to have all of them because of the mayor here in the little municipality. The mayor often have another job, so he is only he will attend meeting only after work hours. And if you want also to have employees at the meeting, they just go to the meeting in the work hours. So that is not it's not easy to have them all, but we really insist to bring them on the field in the municipalities. We were outside and we were showing them the issue. Like, you see that big pile of sand is going right down the river here, and we all see it together. And what they told us after it is that they were happy to be the employees and the elected people from the municipalities together, so they could just talk about it in front of the problem first. And they were also, they told us after that, after they saw the problem, each morning when they go through and they go by in car, they always see it again and again. And it's just, they
want to fix it.
Yeah.
Once they see it, they'll want to fix it.
So that worked really well. And after that, we have them easier for that kind of problem.
Great, thank you. Our next question comes from Myriam Lebeau, who asks, what are the essential components to an effective rain garden?
A rain garden is like a, I will search my words for this because toi tu l'as traduit.
Ouais.
J'allais dire une plaque, non?
Ouais, c'est bon.
Okay, so a rain garden is something that you think about so it can get all the rain from a roof, for example. So you have to calculate, so that's the first thing. You have to calculate how much rain in your region you have, and with the surface of your roof, you calculate how much water that means. And then you have to do a garden that will be okay to get all this water, so it won't overflow too much. So that's the first point.
Basically, if you have a flower bed or infrastructure on your property, it's very similar. People who don't know what a rain garden is, they oftentimes say that the two are exactly the same, because there's flowers, it's round or kidney shaped or something, and it's quite pretty, or it can be very pretty. So you can have all the same components as a normal flower bed.
But you have some water that coming in. Normally, it's your downsprout. A gutter down. Gutter. The water that goes down your roof, it goes in the rain garden, and then you have a place that you choose. So when the rain garden overflows, it goes there. This is really, really important, because it will always overflow. If it's once in 5 years, that's good, but it will overflow one day or another, and you have to choose before and think about where you want it to overflow. So you don't want it to overflow in your house, for example. And go see the document from the Nebraska University, Rain Garden Design. It's really, really easy to understand. And there's also all the campaign that Rain Community did. No, it's not Rain Community, it's Okanagan Basin. They did the Slow It, Spread It, Sink It project, and there's a lot of information there.
Yeah, and if some of you are speaking French, it's a small scoop, but follow us on social media or check our website. In the next few days, we'll have something for you.
In French.
Yeah, in French.
Thank you. The next question comes from Sarah Wheatley, who asks, did you construct the rain gardens or help with construction, or just provide the information?
we did them with the citizen. So we really constructed them. We helped them plan it, and we reviewed their plans, and then we were with them under propriety, and we construct them with them.
Yeah.
We had the help of the municipalities for that, and that was really, really, really a big help, because those people worked for the municipalities. They work with water a lot, so they understand it, and they have a lot of machine that they can use. And the idea was, for the municipality, normally they cannot work on private properties, but for this project, the idea was that if we manage the water from a municipality and we prevent it to go down the street, then the municipality will gain something from it. So they saw it as a municipal project. So they were able to help us on the private properties to prevent the water to go down the street.